All right, everybody. That was a tough one. Felt, I'm going to agree with Joshua there in the comments. I felt that that was a better effort than last night. I thought that the team played pretty well tonight against a really good Carolina team, but just weren't quite able to get it done. PK just wasn't there tonight.
What is up with this team, special teams wise? I mean, the PK was fantastic before these last two games, and then they go 0 for 4. I mean, four missed kills in a row. That's rough, no matter when that comes. But yeah, it's that game of whack-a-mole. You fix one thing, another thing pops up. It's been that way all season. But overall, good effort by the Kraken. I think it's an effort they can be proud of, going toe to toe with the top team in the East. I just think the talent discrepancy won out.
Yeah, I agree. Unfortunately, that was the case tonight. Uh, Ranta played a great game in net for them. I thought Grubauer had a pretty good game too.
Yeah, I thought
It's
he did.
just, yeah, I think special teams just the difference maker tonight. And given the state of the Kraken special teams, if it's going to come down to special teams, can't expect too much, unfortunately.
Hmm.
These days, Tyler starting us off in chat. Yet another. Yep, it is. Hunter looking on the bright side, number one pick. Here we come. That is true. Getting, you know,
It's getting real close, that race.
it really is. I already brought that up from Joshua. The efforts. Lindsay, a fun and close game that we ultimately lose. Hooray!
I
Exactly
know
what
she's
Lindsay's.
pointed out in the past. That's the plan. You
Uh
still
huh.
stay in that number one pick race, but you have the effort there behind it. This is a perfect game in that mold.
Yep. No, this was textbook Lindsay game. Good effort on the second half of back to back. A lot to love about tonight. That's also from Lindsay. I agree. Back to back's never easy. Back to back's on the road. Certainly not, easy. But they played really really well tonight. I felt that they tried to match Carolina from a physical perspective, and I think that they were successful in that. I thought they did a good job offensively of getting to the net and trying to
Yep.
establish a presence in front, and we saw that that paid off a couple times. So there is some good stuff there to take
Yeah.
away
And I
from
think
this one.
yeah. I think there's some positives also take away on the power play. I mean, we could talk about
Mhm.
it later, but and just the fact on the second half of back to back, the legs didn't go away.
That's true. They didn't. It was really good. Christopher, tough team to play on the end of back to back. Just didn't have the legs in the third. There you go.
Well,
You calling Christopher a liar, RJ?
I swear I had not read that comment.
No, I mean they look. That was certainly the most impressive we've seen from them with an empty net all season long. They
Hmm.
went 224 with an extra attacker and their net empty. They didn't allow an empty net goal, and they got a lot of pressure. I guess they certainly had a lot of zone time. I don't know
Yeah.
how much pressure they were able, to actually get on them, but they did, have a lot of zone time, and it looked like there was a plan for once in a situation like that.
Yeah, which was really nice to see.
Yeah, I know. Can you imagine? Stratic lost him with 33 shots allowed. Blew out the shots allowed budget by six. Six! The Kraken will never make up ground on the Kings at this rate. No, I think we might have jinxed that one, Stratic. Um,
Yeah, I think so.
I
I mean,
just,
although this was kind of the blueprint that I went into, in my morning brief, when I looked at this matchup, I talked about the blueprint for winning a game like this. And they kind of established it their last game against Carolina. For those who remember, back to November, that was a 2-1 win. The Kraken
mhm.
got outshot 22-36. So 36 shots allowed, that's pretty close. But they kept them all pretty manageable for Grubauer, and he was able to see them. He was able to stop most of them. And I think they pretty much followed that blueprint tonight. Again, the PK is where things didn't, live up to what they did the last game. But
Yeah.
overall, certainly at even strength, they kind of followed that blueprint, which
Uh,
is fine if you allow a bunch of shots.
yeah, I agree. And I thought Grubauer stayed in it and it looked good. It's all we want some nights, right? Like
Yep.
it's been good to see that from him as of late. Um, Tyler, I'm still in pain over Donskoy's wide open missed shot. That one was rough. I will say I did think that the Carolina defenseman played that perfectly. Just let the goalie handle it. Donskoy doesn't have a great angle there. Not a lot to look at. He tried to make a move, but there was nowhere really for him to go.
Yeah, exactly. I think the D played it really well, as the Hurricanes defensemen tend to do.
I know. Ugh, it's frustrating to play against them so much.
Mhm.
We made it out without an empty net goal. Feels less bad, man. That's from Reading ID. I agree. Like I said, that whole sequence, big win for us. I think having the
Yeah, for sure.
6-on-5 like that. And then also Striatic. Also, I'm making progress on the design for the League Shot Suppression Championship. I'm thinking a golden empty net with a board tied to the post at ice level, as one might see in shinny hockey. That is awesome.
Yes, that'd be awesome. They should make that a league award.
It should be. I mean, well, okay. I mean, we can obviously get to this in the off season when the actual league awards happen. But why don't they do more fun awards, like a segment where they just bring out a comedian and they make like joke awards that they give out,
Hmm.
and have some of them be based off of stuff like this, like, you know what I mean, like shot suppression. Like, it's not a nothing thing. Um, I don't know. They should
Yeah,
just have
yeah.
fun. NHL. It's okay to have fun, and not
Crazy as
whatever
that
Gary
idea
Bettman thinks is fun, because that's generally the fun we get.
sounds. Yep.
It's just that. um, all right, Tyler. I loved the shift Dunn had when he looked hurt and yet continued to battle and block shots while clearly suffering. That effort was A+. We need more of that, minus the hurt part. Yes, that one, it was tough to watch because you could tell how much pain and discomfort Dunn was in. Stayed out there, did his job. You know, he's a hockey player. Um,
Yep.
wasn't too slow getting to the bench either. That's important. But it is always like bad when they cut to the bench shot of the player now on the bench and they're just like keeled over, but no one's there talking to him. Like the teammate next to him's just like back to him. You know, there's no coach or
Yeah.
trainer there. They're just like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, given the spot where he was hit, I figured all the guys are just like, okay, we know what's going on. We
Yeah.
don't need to, be on him. And then he blocked another one, later in the
Yep.
game too. That was another big block. Grubauer was giving him some appreciation taps with the stick after that one. Yeah, Vince Dunn definitely deserves some credit tonight.
Yes. He had a good night. Hunter, who runs the special teams because their job is in jeopardy. Lol.
Well, let's see. So Jay Leach runs the PK, assistant coach, and then the other assistant coach, Paul McFarland, runs the power play. So those are the two guys.
Yep.
Before these last couple games, I'd say, Leach is, doing well. They've made the adjustments, but now it's always something.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. I don't know. That one, it's going to be interesting what the special teams, but especially the PK looks like after the trade deadline. Because I feel like the
Yeah.
PK is where you might lose people that have been, the more solid,
Mm-hmm.
consistent
Shane,
guys.
Donskoy potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yarncroke.
those are guys you could
Mhm.
lose. It could look very different. I mean, I'd be really interested to hear what Hackstall what has to say about the PK after this game. I'd love to just ask him, like, do you think this was? Did you play differently on the PK? Was there a different way you approach things, or was it just a matter of getting burned, being more aggressive now? Teams have kind of watched the tape now; they know what to expect, and you're kind of getting burned on that. I'd like to know what his evaluation of that was. Hopefully, someone asks him. The press, it's in person now, so there's nothing we can do
Mhm.
for these road games. But I would like to know.
Yeah, no, that is a good question. And I would be interested in that answer as well. Striatic, like the stream, everyone. Yes, 21 people in here, only 10 likes. We could certainly do better. And check out the merch and the link in the description below. RJ, you got the sweatshirt on there, I can see.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm,
Dylan, good job
I
remembering to plug
know.
the merch.
I got it. I'm not wearing the merch. I'm just wearing regular Kraken stuff, unfortunately.
Yep.
But
In honor of his return to Carolina, there's also, our best-selling shirt all time, Geeky Squad.
yeah,
Got to shout out to Morgan Geeky
there
there,
you
who had a good game tonight,
he did have a good game. I
along with
liked
that whole
that one.
fourth line.
Yeah, they played well. Really, everybody played well. I'm trying to think of like, three duds. I don't totally know who I would put in there right away for the Kraken this one.
Let's see. I mean, my mind goes to Lozon. There were a couple plays where I was
Yeah.
thinking he could be in better spots. Um,
It's Lazon. It's fine. It's
I
fine.
know, yeah, I got a grade on a curve there.
But yeah,
But
but
yeah.
you know what I mean. Like otherwise, it was just like you said at the jump, right? The better roster kind of won. Like that's just the way it is, right? Or the better special teams unit won. There's kind of no shame in that some nights.
Yeah.
Lindsay, love seeing the Canes black third jersey tonight. When do you think we'll see a third jersey for the Kraken? Do you think we get it
Next
next
season.
year?
Yes, I
Yeah,
think
they already said that,
from
right?
what I've read, yeah, every NHL team will get a third jersey next year. So next season is when you'll see it, and I'm sure it will sell very well.
I'm sure it will. And if other teams or anything to go off of, it'll be red.
Yeah. Seriously.
Because every NHL team needs at least one red jersey for some reason. I mean, at least it's vaguely there for the Kraken. The eye,
Hmm.
like, it wouldn't be too crazy. I don't know. Ty, how's it going, Tankmaster Ty? Not a lot to complain about tonight. They skated until the fans gave the Canes a boost. You could hear the intensity pick up after that PK and bang the game winner. On to the next one. Agreed that Carolina crowd, it was good sounding crowd. It really
Yep.
was. Did a good job singing Sweet Caroline there towards the end.
Hmm. But I'm glad you brought that up, Ty, because I did see your tweet about it too, and I didn't, I was at the end of the game really busy, didn't have time to respond on Twitter, but I'm glad you brought it up here because in that shift, you really saw the Canes fans get into it and kind of, will the team to that goal. It felt like, they were cheering throughout that offensive zone possession. And then, the Canes followed up with the goal. It's something that I haven't seen a whole lot for the home games in Seattle. I mean, the crowd's been, super active and excited as far as, when the Kraken give them something to cheer about on those rare occasions. But there hasn't been a lot of, kind of getting out ahead of it necessarily and willing them to something that I'd maybe like to see more. It's probably easier to do when you're cheering on a team like the Hurricanes who will sometimes reward you for that. Um, whereas the Kraken maybe not as much. But yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because that was cool to see and something I'd like to see a little bit more in Seattle.
Yes, I'm trying to
Working
see.
on something? Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah, no, I know. Thanks for covering there. No, I was just trying to see what the capacity was. For hockey, it's actually larger than at Climate Pledge. I'm surprised
Hmm.
by that. I never thought of it as a larger arena, but it is about 18,500 for an NHL game, which is really, that's a decent size. And it seemed
Yep.
pretty full tonight. Certainly the lower bowl was anyway, what we could see on TV. But yes, their fans were really in it, and they love them some Canes. You can tell,
Oh
and
yeah.
and I think it's a nice special relationship. I do like the Sun Belt cities where it has worked like that, where there is a strong relationship between the fans and the team. Tampa being another good example of that. Let's see. Lindsay, love the intermission breakdown you did about how to beat the Canes' aggressive PK style, RJ.
Thank you, Lindsay. Yeah, yeah. Hopefully, you guys saw that, and it timed out well because the Kraken went and did exactly kind of what I had broken down there on the video, and they scored on the power play because of it. I mean, that's what I was talking about when I said there were some things from the power play that I did, like seeing. They
Mm-hmm.
had some real quick puck movement. I mean, that's how you counter an aggressive
Yeah.
PK. When you're watching film, the Hurricanes, they've got this league best penalty kill, and it's because they're so aggressive. We talked about the power kill on the broadcast,
Mm-hmm.
a lot. You heard Allison talking about it. She
Yep.
loves to talk about the power kill. And the way you combat that, though, is you have quick puck movement because they're going to be putting pressure on the puck carrier. Often two guys worth of pressure on the puck carrier. And if you can move it quickly out of those areas, the guys on the other team aren't going to be able to get back in position fast enough. And you saw it on that really good Yarncroke chance in the first, and then you saw it again, on the Wenberg power play goal where the Kraken knew where their guys were going to be. They moved the puck around quickly, and it left Carolina's defense just chasing them the whole way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's watching film, that's making adjustments, and that's putting it out there on the ice, which is something we really haven't seen from the Kraken power play hardly at all this season. So I feel the need to give him some credit there, and it did result in a power play goal.
Yeah, it did, and I'm glad you did that because it was something that was noticeable. How nice was it to see a penalty kill where all the defenders' heads are kind of whipping back and forth and they're kind of drawn out of position and it's like noticeable, right? And it's not us for once.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It was good, and it was yeah, no, it was a good one. And how about Wenberg getting a
Mhm.
goal from that kind of side net. It's more like net adjacent rather than net front position that I've kind of been critical of this year
Mhm.
because like it outside of this exact situation, you can't do a lot of damage there. But I will we'll give him credit. He got one. He shot the puck and it went in.
Yep. Yeah, he's got a couple goals recently now.
Yeah,
However he's doing it, you gotta like that.
exactly. I'm still not sure that that's the best position in the world to have people on a power play, but it worked tonight. Let's see. Cameron. Carolina seems to be very good at capitalizing on rebound chances. Haven't watched much of them. Is that how they score most of their goals? If you know, I'm trying to think. I haven't watched too much of them. This season or really the last couple seasons. It's hard. They don't get a lot of national games for whatever reason, but I do feel like they do have a very aggressive forecheck, and they have a lot of big-bodied guys who do like to go to the net. Jordan Stahl is the one that pops into my mind first and foremost for a bunch of reasons. But yes, they are not shy about getting to the net front, challenging a team's defenseman and trying to win out net front like that.
Yeah, and you add guys like Niederreiter, Nichas,
Mm-hmm.
Svechnikov, guys who are no strangers to the front of the net. They are definitely built to collect rebounds given the wingers that they have.
Yeah, so that's a good pickup there, Cameron. Striatic, the Kraken third jersey should be their regular home jersey, except instead of the Kraken logo, it's just the image of an empty net and a board tied at ice level, as one might see in shinny hockey. I see what you did there, Striatic.
The shot suppression jerseys.
Submit it to the fan design contest. We'll give you a little bit of a boost if it's fan voting. Okay, but don't hold your breath. Ty, okay, zone entry on the power play, but not going to beat a fossilized horse at this point, lol. PK was meh as well, but kind of expected that with the new system and the Canes, lol. Yeah, you were big about the zone entries yesterday, RJ. Not as much
No,
tonight.
back to normal tonight. And yeah, on the power play, and I think it was it Yarncroke or Larson? One of them was talking about it at the intermission too in that interview, and talking about the power play. And he's like, well, one of the great things about when we converted is that we didn't have to get a zone entry. We won the face off to start the power play, so we didn't have to get the zone entry. And you could tell it's an area they kind of struggle. And when they're very happy if they don't have to enter the zone themselves.
Yeah. Oh man. I'm trying to remember which one it is because I remember hearing that. It might have. It had to be. It had to be Yarncroke. Because Larson doesn't talk that much when he's interviewed. He doesn't. No, and he doesn't say that much. Is what I mean. Like, but how about that pass?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that stretch pass was amazing, and that's what he did talk about.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, he was calling for it. I don't know how he got down there. Maybe he came off the bench or whatever. But yeah, he was open, so I said it there. Yeah, that was a great stretch pass. I knew you would love to see that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the first time that we've seen really long stretch passes where he just sends it hard on the ice and it's receivable. Like I don't think if you haven't played hockey, you might not be able to appreciate that. But to have a really hard, fast pass like that you can thread the needle through multiple defenders, through multiple zones like that, and have it just kind of stick to a player's stick when it gets there, not where it's like so hard and heavy where it's going to bounce right off. Like it's skill on both sides of that. It was also a really good job by Yarncroke to receive it and control it right away like that too. On the fly like that. Like it just reminded me of in football, a quarterback hitting a slot receiver going over the middle, just threading the needle, just hits him right in stride. That receiver's gone. It was really pretty, and that's the kind of like big offensive play that have been very, very few and far between this year for the Kraken. Unfortunately. Joshua, all the Twitter hate from Carolina fans because Fleury being scratched, the Kraken didn't deserve him. Odd. Didn't they leave him exposed? Not a lot of room to talk, lol. That said, let the man play. Do you think, Reading ID points out just underneath that they traded him to the Ducks last year, but the point does still stand to a point there. Yeah, I was kind of surprised we didn't get, a revenge game for Fleury.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen that, and lots of Canes fans, talking about that. Saw that this morning. Yeah, I was hoping to see it, but he still did some great things, even despite being a scratch.
Oh,
I don't know if you saw that tweet. Oh, he gave this kid a stick and like met with the kid,
cool.
behind the scenes, who had just shown up like just to see him, and he was so bummed. And then, but Hayden Fleury somehow found the kid and was able to give him a stick, so that was really cool.
Yeah, good on him. Good on the media people, I'm sure, for helping to make that happen as well. No, the thing I was going to say is they kind of disrespected him when Root did, their graphic for everything that Ron Francis did as general manager in Carolina, they were pointing out the players he drafted, his acquisitions, trades, all that kind of stuff. He was not on the list of players drafted. I was like,
No.
where? Why?
I mean, he was a high draft pick, but
He was yeah, what, eighth overall? Like, and he
yeah,
plays on
top
your
10.
team now. Like, I just felt like, yeah, maybe you include him on the graphic there. I get, Jake Bean wasn't there, or whatever, but given he's on the Kraken, maybe we include him on the Root broadcast. I don't know.
No.
Not even didn't even get a quick shout out or anything either. It was just odd to me. All right, Striatic. Not to be too negative, and it's good to try to pump his stats, but am I the only one seeing Geo bad on the power play? No, I mean that's kind of been all year.
Yeah, all season that's been the story, and I think they've moved to Vince Dunn a little bit more recently.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like he's gotten some run on the top unit a little bit, and I think that's going to be certainly more of a thing after the trade deadline. But yeah, at this point, it's just kind of a moot point given that Geo's probably going to be gone.
Yeah. All right. So we know Vince Dunn's going to probably take over first unit power play duties. Who do we want to see, quarterbacking the second unit?
So far this year, it's been Susie.
I know.
So I think that's probably going to be who's going to do it. I'd like to see Hayden Fleury, and maybe that's where you're going.
Yeah, that's where I was going. Yes, I was going to come back around to Hayden Fleury. I want to see his shot back there. Like Susie's, fine. He scored several goals this season. I think he's a good puck mover out of their own defensive zone, but he's not one of the guys that stands out to me when they're in the offensive zone as far as really doing a good job keeping pucks in, making, good passes, throwing it on net where guys can tip it, that kind of stuff. Like, he's not really the first or even third guy that pops into my head on this team. So I do think once Gio's out of the lineup, that opens up a spot. It's got to be Fleury or Borgen. Those are, the two guys left to, fill that vacancy. Probably going to be Fleury based on how the season has gone. And Hackstall's, patterns, there's a word that I'm missing there, but tendency. Yeah. Thank you. But yes, I want to see Fleury get some power play opportunity just with that awesome slap shot. Oh, I've loved it forever. It's why Ronnie Francis drafted him so high. Might as well use it.
On the graphic.
I know. Hunter on those rare occasions. Lol, RJ from earlier. Yep. And Tyler, could Seattle potentially hold a future Stadium Series game? The temperature at the game in Nashville was in the 30s. We've talked about this before. They will at some point. Like the NHL.
It will happen. Yeah.
The NHL.
Just a matter of when.
You go.
Sorry, we keep cutting each other off.
You go. Go for it.
No, I said they will at some point. Just a matter of when. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, the NHL likes getting those around to different, as many markets as they can. That makes sense too. I mean, you and I were at the one at Dodger Stadium. Like, they even got one out here. They've done it in the Bay Area in California. You know what I mean? Like, Vegas might be pushing it, but but I think they want to get those out to all of them, and they're going to try to reward the new market in Seattle as well and try to get them involved somehow. We've talked kind of several times where they could do it. I see Ty suggesting Lumen right there. I think that's a good choice. There's a lot of good choices for them. Thankfully, Seattle has a lot of good, places.
Yeah, a lot of places where you really can't go wrong. And yeah, Lumen would be my pick personally.
Yeah, I think that's where they would lean. It's certainly, I feel like at the right now in current like sports, pop culture, it's the most well known. I feel like nationally. Yeah. Did Zarnik get reclaimed by the Islanders? And Ty answered there, yes he did. Yes he did.
Yep. So, and we've seen this happen before with like Alex Barré-Boulet. They reclaim him because now they can send him to the minors. They didn't want to lose him in the first place when the Kraken picked him up. So now they can do what they were trying to do all along.
Yeah, and we talk about him a little bit at the start of the deep dive coming out tomorrow. We recorded it before this game, but it's still a really good one. I think it's
make sure give it a listen.
Enjoy it tomorrow. Let's see. Joshua talk about Fleury there, and then also absurdly saying Fleury making it up to the Canes fans. The classy move. Find that kid and giving him a stick, though. Yeah, as you pointed out, RJ, I got to go look that up on Twitter when we're done here.
It's good.
And then Lindsay, it was so touching to see the huge John Forsland tribute. You could tell he was getting a bit choked up after it. Yeah, and what do you think of him trying to play it off like it's nothing? I don't know at all what's happening right now.
Hmm. Yeah, very convincing, John.
Yeah.
After he's like, okay then. Yeah.
It was kind of weird because like by doing the I don't know what's happening right now as they're like sending our broadcast to look at it all, it was kind of like, hey, look at this, pay attention,
Yep.
to it. But then at the end he was just like, all right, whatever. And it was like, what did you want us to look? What? I don't know. I will say from a broadcasting standpoint, was it just me or was Allison Lukin night and day different from last night in that she was not very good because she didn't talk.
Well, she didn't say anything. That's what I was gonna say. Is she was so quiet tonight. I was expecting to hear more from her. I mean, everything she said last night was like great, and then yeah, it just felt like I didn't even remember, hardly remembered her on the broadcast. I don't know if she was told something by I don't someone. But yeah, it was night and day.
That's what I was wondering because like I literally said it last night. Part of why she was so good was she entered with so much confidence. Like she was
Hmm.
just like, yeah, no, I'm seizing this opportunity. I'm going to show what I've got. I know all the stuff. I can explain it all very well. I speak very clearly. Like she's such a natural at it, and she knew that. And she walked in there with all that confidence. So yes, that was one of the things that popped into my mind was she almost seemed afraid to talk tonight, and that doesn't seem like her at all. So
No.
assuming
So
she's
yeah.
healthy and it wasn't like a sickness type thing, yeah, my mind went to maybe someone said something, but I don't know
Yeah.
why
Well,
or who.
yeah, exactly. Well, free Hayden Fleury, free Will Borgen, free Allison Lucan.
I guess so. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Um, all right, Tyler, which happens first, Hackstall getting fired or the team announcing the mascot? I don't know. I'm starting to think that when the team said, "Hey, by the end of December we'll have the mascot," they meant December 2022.
Yeah. They said it in 2021, but they did not clarify which year, so it could be any December really. Uh, and I don't think Hackstall is getting fired anytime soon. So, but the mascot, that's the one thing to compare it to.
Hmm.
I don't know.
I don't either. I mean they're really running out of time to do a mascot. Like you might as well hold it for next year almost. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yep. I think. Yeah, seriously, if you release it like on last game fan appreciation day, it doesn't do any good.
no, no
You
one
gotta.
no one kind of cares. Whereas you can use it next year as like the big reveal and the marketing going into the season and all that stuff.
Mhm.
Sell it
And
on the
also,
new fresh
yeah.
look after free agency when we're
Mhm.
super aggressive.
Exactly. Yep.
Maybe that's what it
So,
is. They're transitioning it to be like
mm,
a stockbroker type guy. All the wheeling and dealing in free agency.
there we go. Gordon Gecko, the mascot,
There we go.
brought to you
God.
by Amazon.
Oh man, it all works too
But
well.
on the Hackstall front, really quick, because see, every night we get a thing about firing Hackstall, and because I think I forgot to mention it on the podcast that'll come out tomorrow. Did I mention Ron Francis's comment on the coaching staff? I don't think I did
I don't think
on the
so.
podcast.
Yeah, I
So
don't think
anyway,
so.
I'll mention it here. Should have mentioned it on the podcast. But the quote is, "We still think our coaching staff is working hard and doing a good job, and will continue to back them going forward."
Okay,
So
it's what you would have expected. Like if you had had me guess what the statement was, that would have been my guess, almost
yeah,
word for word.
exactly. So, but some positive words there.
Yeah. Hunter, I wonder if the Kraken are actually tanking at this point since the season is done for. I guess we'll see at the deadline if this is true. I don't think so because I don't think that these players would, given some of their
No, and
situations.
tonight was evidence of that.
Yeah,
That they're not.
yeah. And it doesn't seem that the front office has at all. I mean, they're running out their top goalie, their big free agent acquisition goalie. Wouldn't be doing that if you were trying to tank.
Yeah, and I think everyone in the organization is on board with the idea that losses are very harmful at this point.
Yeah. All right, RJ. This is from Tankmaster Ty. There was a fight in the
Okay.
stands at SAP, the Preds whooping. It was basically where we sat for the Kraken game. Missed out. Why don't fans fight like the players, grab some collar and throw? I don't
I
think
did
I've.
see the video of
I was
that.
gonna say I've never heard of that at SAP.
I know. I haven't really either. I mean, that was something that I would kind of make fun of my Kings fan friends about, is you'd get lots of fights in the stands at Staples Center. I saw plenty of them as a kid going to those games, but never in San Jose. You would see it. It was just this good, kind of family atmosphere. But I mean, things are very different now than they used to be in San Jose. So I guess I'm not surprised.
Yeah, and they don't happen in Anaheim because in Anaheim it's always social distancing. Can't fight somebody when there's like a section between you. um, I love going to games in Anaheim too. By the way, I'm not just trying to like dump on them, but it is part of going. Ty, what do you think? What do you think is keeping Donnie out of the lineup? He's still young and developing on the ice. This is what we need out there. He fits the identity. I see better than some others. He's 25. So talking about Donato there, I guess is as good as mine, really.
Yeah, I think, when you have other guys coming back into the lineup, obviously, like, Zarnik was a casualty of that, and, Lind, of course. But I think, with Donato, at the end of the day, you have to take someone out of the lineup. But it's, either him or Sheehan, and I understand you got to think back to 2 games ago.
Wenberg!
Not one of the best with the people. Yeah, I know, Wenberg. That would probably be the one to do, but he's got 2 goals in 3 games now, so that's harder. But yeah, Sheehan, you don't want to mess with the PK. Yeah. Donskoy, you don't want to mess with the PK, and those are kind of the other guys to consider.
Yeah, it's just hard because I thought he's played so well this season. He's been at times like the only guy really trying in some games for this team. So it's just unfortunate. Maybe they're just trying to keep his costs down, knowing they got to re-sign him.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Teams will do. I don't think this team would tank per se, but I do think that this team is probably like all other teams in that they might do some stuff like that. And then Tyler, where's Donato been recently? Is he pulling a Wenberg? Seems like I haven't seen or heard his name in a while. No, he's legit been just not there.
Yeah, healthy scratch at the couple games before that too. He was under 10 minutes of ice time. He just really hasn't been playing much.
Yeah. Striatic, it's like that Simpsons episode where Mr. Burns keeps getting Don Mattingly to shave his sideburns to stay on the Springfield baseball team. Hextall must have some sideburn issues with Fleury. That is good.
Such a good episode too. So okay, Fleury clearly just needs to like shave all the way up here through his whole head.
Yep.
Actually, that didn't work for Mattingly either. So
no, it did not.
No sideburns.
Yes.
Yep.
That was a good reference. I haven't thought of that in a long time. Thanks for that, Striatic. Let's see. Ty, healthy scratch since McCann and Schwartz came back. Yeah. Stu, any update on the pending Giordano trade? Speculation is he'll go to one of Rangers, Leafs, Panthers, Blues, or Carolina Hurricanes. So, I mean, we talk a little bit about the fact that he's leaving on the podcast coming out tomorrow, but we do not speculate on where he's going, RJ. Do you have a feel? Have you heard anything?
I haven't heard anything as far as a destination. I mean, it's pretty clear he's being traded, but I don't know where. That's a good list of teams that would be potential suitors. I mean, my gut says maybe Leafs or Blues.
I was going to say, I think the Leafs make the most sense in that they'd want to bring a guy like him specifically in. I don't know about the Panthers. I'm looking up the Panthers cap situation because that's something I don't know. So they're basically right up against the cap. I don't know who that they could unload to make room for him. You know what I mean?
Right. Because, I mean, he's still at 3.2, whatever, 3 point something.
Right.
At half retained, so.
Yeah, I don't. Because a lot of the guys that are up in there are guys that they need. For a playoff push. They can't kind of dump any of them. So unless they find some way to get out of Bob's contract there, I don't know what they're going to do. And then the Rangers, I mean, I think the Rangers are going to be a team that we're going to hear as being in on everybody. And then they're probably going to just make like one kind of minor move. That's just the sense I get.
Yep. Actually, Panthers' projected deadline cap space is 3.67, so they could just fit it.
Okay, so they could just do it then. All right. Absurdly saying it wasn't just you with Allison tonight. It was weird that she did so well last night and seemed a bit off tonight. Yeah, she just didn't talk. And there were like times where he like left pauses for her to jump in and then she just didn't, which is something JT does sometimes. So in that sense, it kind of reminded me of that, but it was just, after what we got last night, I was just very kind of surprised by it, because I just thought she did so well last night. I was really looking forward to it.
Yeah, agreed.
Valentina, missed the first part of the stream because my dad called. Forgive me if this has been covered. Why wouldn't you plan for all those fresh D legs? Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
we actually hadn't covered that.
we
Yeah,
we
but
didn't, but
on defense, no.
no, we
Uh,
didn't. But you bring up a good point. I was surprised to see both McCann and Schwartz in tonight again, coming off the injuries and stuff.
Really, I
Yeah.
think given, I mean, you can't
Well,
bench Schwartz.
no,
Given
but
how he's
in the past when guys have come back from injuries right before back to backs, they have not played both back to backs.
right, and I understand, but that's, you're talking about like a Carson Soucy. I remember that was the case, or where you can afford to kind of leave them off a little bit more. Whereas I just, given how vital it is to have those top six forwards in McCann and Schwartz. But on defense, I thought we might see that, or even Donato coming in for a for a Donskoy or for a Sheehan, especially given how the PK did the previous game. I was surprised to see the exact same lineup for both halves of back to backs.
Right. I mean, you're not a little surprised with Schwartz after he's been gone for 6+ weeks.
I get it, and yeah. So okay, yeah, I get it, but if he wants to play, it's hard to keep him out.
Yeah, agreed, and he did play well last night. So
Yeah,
but
that's
yes,
why.
I mean, we did talk about Valentina. Why was Fleury not there? I'll bring that up
Yep.
one last time. All right, I promise everybody I'm done. Ty brings up an interesting one: swapping out Appleton for Donato. That could work for sure.
It could. I mean, the reason I would think not to do that is because I really wouldn't want to mess with the Blackwell Gord Appleton line,
Mm-hmm.
like, because that line's been one of the Kraken's best. I just wouldn't want to touch it. But after these couple games, I think then I'd feel comfortable with it, because obviously Blackwell and Gord, the two most important pieces of that line recently. But still, like, when they're playing so well, I just wouldn't want to touch it.
Yeah, I was gonna say these last couple games, Appleton hasn't looked the greatest. Maybe one game off will do him some good. Get him refreshed. I know it's hard as we go into this long road trip. Kind of, who knows what'll happen. Kraken Hawk, boy, Yarn Croak is on fire right now. Do you think Francis could take advantage of his hot streak and trade him for a higher draft pick or prospect, or is this a non-factor? No, it is very much a factor. We do discuss Yarn Croak specifically for a nice little bit on the podcast coming out tomorrow, and in relation to the trade deadline and everything. Hot streaks certainly help leading into trade deadline season.
For sure. Yep. So he's boosting his value quite a bit right now, and I'm actually really excited to see what kind of return the Kraken can get for him.
Yeah, and if they get one, I mean, we do bring up the idea of maybe he hangs around. You never know. But yeah, he's been playing great. Love to see it too after the slow start to the season that he had, just because I've been a fan of his for a really long time, and I was so excited when the Kraken got him. It was kind of rough to see that slow start. Okay, Hunter, interesting quote about the coaching staff. My view is that if they don't show improvement early next season, then they'll be fired mid-season. I think that's that's a for sure. If they survive the off season and then next season starts in a similar vein to this one, they're gone pretty quick.
Yes, agreed. And I still think it's more likely that Hackstall at least gets the start of next season, now that we heard from Francis, and just, I don't know. I would put the odds over 50% that he stays now.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting that sense too. I think exit interviews will still be important. I think we could still see some shakeups when it comes to other areas of the coaching staff. I don't know that both, assistant coaches are locks to return. I think that's something that could be on the table after this. If they, keep Hackstall, they'll try to change some stuff up. But we talked about earlier, right? They're in charge of the special teams right now that have really been a problem for them. But yes, if next season starts and it starts bad, they're good. They'll be moved pretty quick, especially after whatever moves they make in free agency to try to be competitive next year.
Exactly.
And then we can expect like a 10-game win streak, because that's apparently just what happens.
Just automatic. Yep.
Greg, benching Donato is a fireable offense. He is arguably on any given night our best player. Such a joke. I mean, I agree. I love Donato. I wouldn't take him out of the lineup, but that's the choice they made.
Yep. Yeah.
Let's see. Valentina, I'd swap Shahan for Donato. The Blackwell Gord Appleton line is fantastic. So there you go. Valentina
That's
agreeing
probably
with
what
you.
I would have gone with going into this game.
Mm-hmm. Stratic, Donato should be back after the Kraken ship out a forward or two at the deadline, presuming teams are still interested in our UFA forwards. We talked about that. Yarncroak is going to for sure draw interest. I mean, I'm sure
Yeah,
he has
100%.
already,
Yep.
but
But yeah, exactly. And I think we'll see that a lot of the guys who were complaining that they're not getting into the lineup as much as we would like to see,
mm-hmm.
you're not going to have those issues post trade deadline.
No.
And I think that's going to be really fun for all of us too. I mean, you're going to see what Hayden Fleury can do, what Will Borgen can do,
Mm-hmm.
what maybe a guy like Cole Lind can do. You know, he was good in that one game he got to come in. So I think that's going to be, really cool to see.
Yeah, and whatever player, if we ever need to draw one off of waivers again, because so far this season that's been working pretty good for us.
It has.
Lindsay, Allison did seem to put an extra emphasis on how much they missed JT in COVID protocol tonight. Maybe someone did tell her that she upstaged JT last night and to tone it down. Hashtag Emerald City Conspiracy. That is
I
certainly
like that
possible.
hashtag.
I do too.
Yeah, I mean, it would explain everything. I
Yeah.
will say that much.
Yeah. I think you might be onto something there, Lindsay. Ty, the worst trade rumor I have heard was from a Toronto thread. Apparently they're looking at Gord, which would hit the fan base hard by what I heard at the skills showcase. Said he is not happy here. Well, I just think a Toronto anything making stuff up because it's Toronto. No
Yep.
offense to anybody from Toronto, but we all know how the hockey media market can be there when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think there's, again, I'm around the team every day. I haven't seen it, evidence that Gord is not happy here.
I was going to say, he's got a funny way of showing he's not happy here when he's like out there smiling and standing up on the bench because he's like practically jumping up and down with excitement during these Kraken games. So
Yep.
that doesn't strike me as a player looking to, leave town anytime soon. And I think he's probably part of the group that the front office has identified as a core they are comfortable with moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that's
Way
what
to
Ron
use
Francis
the
said.
team's jargon there.
Yeah. Isn't it just so fun and passionate? that's what you want to hear. No, we have identified the assets that we believe can give us the most production in future events. It's like, oh man, I want to go play really hard for that guy.
I'll run through a wall for you. Let's go.
I know.
The best asset.
I know. Oh, it's certainly a Seattle Tech approach, I guess, though. That's what they're going for. All right, Stratic. At least Donato being healthy scratched means they probably aren't going to try to move him at the deadline. I hope. I don't think they're going to, given he's RFA. He's working here where he has not worked in other places in the past. I feel like there's obviously something special here. They want to keep
and there's
him.
no urgency to move an RFA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lindsay, alternatively, it's the second half of a back-to-back with travel. Maybe Allison was just a bit jet-lagged and didn't get a good night's sleep and isn't used to filling this role 2 nights in a row. That is certainly possible, too. I mean, that would happen to any of us. I mean, already, I'm sure you guys probably all picked up on it, at least at the first. I felt like both you and me, RJ, right? We were a little slow to get going tonight.
Yeah,
passing it off to each other pretty quick there a little bit. Like, you take this one.
Yeah.
As
Back to
we
back
go.
enough to throw anyone off their rhythm, that's for sure.
It is. And for some reason, I don't know why, I struggle a little bit more with these early starts for us, these East Coast games. You'd think it'd be the other way. But I get all like jazzed up come 10 o'clock to do those other ones. And there's just something about hockey with the sun out, right outside the window and you're watching a hockey game. Like I don't know, it doesn't work for me. All right, Greg's referencing Stratic, maybe, but man, it sends a bad message to the team, in my opinion, referencing Donato being the healthy scratched in regards to deadline and everything. I don't know. I think it's just I don't know that we have to read too much into it. I think it's like you said, they just a lot of guys coming back, someone's odd man out. And then Ty, Blackwell was in true form tonight. I caught him butt to ice at least twice. I would love to see Blackwell, Gordon, Donato. It could come from any of them. I agree. And didn't we see that earlier in the year? Like when Blackwell first came back, wasn't that the grouping?
I think it was. I know Blackwell and Donato were together for a bit. I forget who was centering them, but it might have been Gord.
I think at one point it was Gord. And I remember liking it a lot because it was I mean, they kind of have like a Bash Bros kind of feel to them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That the group of guys. Appleton fits in well from the like frantic, frenetic, like high energy standpoint, but I feel like from the, hey, we're gonna be a little shifty while also, banging bodies. Like that's you put Donato with those guys.
Oh yeah.
And nice to see Blackwell getting it done again, giving the fans what they want.
Yeah. No, he's been awesome.
Stratic, firing Hackstall should depend on who is in the coaching market this offseason. Someone better than him available. Hackstall should be gone no matter if the org likes him a little. Why not upgrade? I mean, there is certainly an argument to be made there. Any season, you always kind of reevaluate that. And if you think someone's better, you just go for it. I don't
That's
know.
certainly the Vegas way of thinking.
It is. I don't know what the financial situation is. Obviously, you'd have to pay out that Hackstall contract if you were to do it. So, you don't want to do that like every year. All of a sudden, you're paying like 5 coaches every season or whatever. But it will be interesting to see. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Ty, shall we build our core, the ECH core? I mean, who's in your core, RJ? McCann, Gord, Larson. That's my core.
There you go. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, exactly. McCann, Gord, got some Larson there. Beniers.
Oh, yeah, but yes, that doesn't count.
I know that doesn't count. I know.
I mean, Schwartz has been good, Everly's been good, but it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, as far as guys, I just wouldn't move. If I'm Francis, I'm listening to everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think like the this year's draft prospects and maybe Yanni Gord are the only guys I'm not taking calls on.
And Jared McCann.
And Jared McCann, yes, thank you. And McCann, yeah.
I was gonna say like, okay, like let's do this, I guess.
No, I'm not taking.
You're like, no, get rid of this guy. He's too selfish. He's always shooting and scoring by himself. It's gonna be like glass houses, RJ. From some of your old roller hockey days. There we go. I just had a whole conversation for the two of us by myself. That's what everyone's here for, right? See, I told you these 4 o'clock starts for me. They just don't work. Certainly not on the back-to-backs. Reading ID, Ty, or someone was getting traded.
Oh, that ECH
yeah,
core.
that ECH core.
Okay.
You guys all know you're all part of the core. We're not.
Yes.
We don't want to get rid of any of you.
Yeah. Anyone who's been here this season, going through this year with us, is part of the ECH core. We're still going to build around that core as we move forward. Tell all your friends, let's bring in some new players here around the core. But yeah, you guys are definitely the core.
Yes, we view you all as valuable assets that we would like to continue to engage with on a regular to semi-regular basis.
Well said.
Absurdly saying I have a no trade clause in my contract, so I'm not going anywhere. It's true. Y'all get no trade clauses. You can waive them if you wish, but we're not gonna be happy about it.
Tank Commander Ty saying he'd be traded so fast.
Okay, I might be the exception there. Yes.
Yeah, there we go. We're taking some calls right now.
Yeah. All right, Tyler. I wish we could see consistent lines so players can get good chemistry together, rather than the constant shuffling. Yes, injuries happen, but Hackstall seems to rotate players on a regular basis. He does. I feel like. I mean, part of that is like, look, you're in the middle of all these big losing streaks. Go ahead and keep shuffling them around. I mean, you could keep throwing the same lines out there, but when they're just losing, there's no point in keeping them together.
Yeah, and I do think Hackstall has actually been a little bit better with that recently. I mean, evidence is he's kept, the Gord Blackwell, Appleton line together, even when they, haven't been amazing. They've found that chemistry together, and he's stuck with it. For a while, he had the McCann, Johansson, Eberle line together, and that one ended with McCann getting injured. There's nothing you can do about that. But he kept that one together, and I think he's done a better job of keeping lines together until they get stale. Like, hopefully like this 4th line, Geeky, Sheehan, and Donskoy, I'd like to see him keep that together.
Right.
If he can. So
yeah, it's certainly not just the McCann injury, but then bringing Schwartz back into the mix has kind of thrown things a little bit. Yeah, and to just jump down to Tyler's latest comment, just to continue this point before we leave it. At one point, Hackstall was putting lines together of former players of the team they were playing that night. I recall Donskoy True Donato on a line against San Jose. Doesn't seem like smart coaching. Yeah, that might not be the best, choice to do things.
Although that line did score.
It did. And I feel like lower in the lineup like that, you can afford to do that and maybe have a little fun there and try to get guys going off of the idea of it being a revenge game. I wouldn't certainly make that like, my top line. Like, oh, you guys know the secrets to beat the Sharks. Or anything,
yeah, I mean, when you're early on with an expansion team, like I think that was in the first month or something, you kind of fool around like that. But yeah, certainly not what you want to be doing at this point.
Yeah. Okay, we got Rock Todd Forsberg or Klingberg.
Is that
a question of who we want in free agency, I guess?
Yeah. Clarify, Rock
yeah,
Todd.
I'm assuming it's, who should the Kraken go after in free agency, and we literally talk about both of them and the idea of the Kraken going after them in free agency in the podcast, which drops tomorrow, 6:00 a.m. West Coast time, Pacific time. You can do your own adjustments based on wherever you are for the other times, but that's what it comes out. And we do mention both of them, so your answer is going to be there. Didn't want to miss this from Stratic. Tanev is still in my core. Yes, we should have said Brandon Tanev too.
Yes, agreed. Add him to the core. It's easy to forget when he hasn't been playing and also hasn't been like in the broadcast booth, or at least that I know of, doing some of the other things they said he was going to do.
I was going to say, remember when they like brought him back, like after the surgery went well and he was starting rehab and he was like up and moving around, and then they were just like, yeah, no, we're going to use this opportunity to get him out more than ever and all that stuff to engage with everybody.
Just cricket sense.
Yeah, he came out and did something for that next game. Before the game, he did whatever, and then that was it.
Yeah, he rang the bell.
Yep.
Or no, he just did the intro. Didn't even ring the bell. The bell didn't happen yet.
Yeah. So where's him? Like, he should just be taking over the Kraken Twitter account during all the games or something. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun.
I feel like we'd get lots of pictures, every second intermission about whatever food he was having.
Yes. He would do that.
He just strikes me as that kind of guy. Yeah, so then Lindsay, yet another thing to look forward to next season. Beniers, Tanev, Gord, McCann, and Shane Wright, asterisk, or other top 5 pick. That is true. We'll see, depending on who they draft and where they're, where they're at development-wise, if they'll be with the team next year. And then, imagine how ready to go Tanev is going to be next year. I think given his personality, that's driving him crazy right now. That's from Absurdly Sane. Oh, I can guarantee you it's driving him crazy.
For sure.
And then Hunter, what's the next episode of the podcast about? I can't tell if you're being facetious, Hunter, because I've mentioned it so many times or not.
He actually put that out before we were just talking about it.
I know. But it is a continuation of our discussion of the build after last week's, was rendered pointless literally the next morning by Ron Francis saying what he said. We have to kind of go back and adjust things. They aren't going to be doing it the traditional, rebuild slow through the draft kind of way. They're going to be doing the build through being aggressive in free agency after identifying that core group of players that they are satisfied with. So
yep,
we talk all about
go
that.
into detail about that. Yep,
as well as Zarnik leaving and the player auction baskets.
That's a fun one. There's some interesting stuff in there.
Yeah, so know that there is some fun stuff in addition to all the nitty-gritty free agency stuff. We all get to talk about Zach Parise's 13-year, $99 million contract. Yay!
Everyone enjoys that.
Everyone does. You have no idea. That was back in my yelling at the ref hockey coverage days, that was like a big deal. I was really trying to be a little reporter in high school when all that was going on that off season, so I was really following that close, trying to figure out where they were going. You know who the third big free agent was that season, RJ? Because it was Parise and Suter, and everyone knew they were going to go somewhere together and everything. Do you remember who the third one was?
No, I don't.
One of my all-time favorite players to make takes on that then proved to always be terrible.
Well, it's not Alex Frolov, because I remember you doing that.
This is Alexander Semin. He was the third.
He signed for $7 million somewhere.
Carolina.
That's right.
Yeah.
Tie it all together.
And I remember defending that. I was like, hey, look, he was at the time, if you looked at the previous 5 seasons, when it comes to plus minus and plus minus, he was like 4th in the league in pluses. I was like, look, he's fine. He's like the only Russian who plays defense, clearly. Thankfully, that website no longer exists, so nobody could find all the other bad takes that were there.
Although we do need to dig up some of the video footage of the two of us doing
I for
our
sure
show
have
years
that.
ago.
I for sure have that. It's actually out there on YouTube, but just gonna throw
Looks
that
a little
out there.
different than this.
Yeah, just a little. Sergeant Pickles stopping in for my contractually mandated appearance, everyone. No scotch in sight. That's a good thing with work tomorrow. Be well, everyone, and have a good evening. There we go, Sergeant Pickles, another member of the ECH Corps. And then Reading ID finally ordered my Tanev jersey. Awesome.
Nice.
Glad you got that done, and hope you enjoy it. And then Lindsay, Tanev will be engaging with fans more than ever. You're getting a mascot before December. This organization has a flimsy relationship with the truth. Yeah, just a little.
Yeah.
Just a little. Does that mean they're not going to be aggressive in free agency, RJ? Are they going to render?
Yeah, hopefully
are they
that's
going to
what that
render
means.
us wrong again?
Oh man, yeah, I think there are some improvements to be made, certainly, about the messaging on certain things.
Yeah,
and following through on that, but hopefully that gets better with time.
Yep. Jagar missed the game. Was it the same old, same old? No, it wasn't. Wenberg had a power play goal, Jagar. Everything's changed now. I mean, they still lost, but... And special teams was otherwise a disaster tonight. So I guess in that sense, no, it was same old, same old.
The ongoing game of whack-a-mole continues. New problems popping up, old ones going away.
Exactly. It's all those things where they're just bailing out water as fast as it's coming into that kind of sinking ship. Yes, Hunter, the build part 2. That is, we were trying to figure out what it was. The last episode didn't quite do so well, so we're not going to name it Ron the Builder again. That was my first thought to name the episode.
Ron the Builder again. Yeah, we're gonna name it something different.
I think we need to go with something Star Warsy about aggressive negotiations or something for free agency. I think that's the way we got to go. I know you have no idea what I'm talking about.
Nope. Whatsoever. We still haven't decided on a name for the podcast, so if anyone has any good ideas with that.
What are you talking about? Oh, the name for the podcast. I'm like, it's the deep dive. What are you talking about? We did come up with a name for the podcast.
Name for this episode.
That is true. Okay, Ty, last goal, scooted under the pad. Would the CCMs made that stop? Haha, we will never know.
We'll never know.
He's been playing well in these pads.
Yeah, he has. Although I think he was wearing the CCMs in practice yesterday. Not yesterday. Yeah, 2 days ago.
Yeah, I was going to say, the last time you saw him.
Yeah.
Tyler, whoever says all this stuff about Tanev making more appearances and mascot coming soon needs to be fired ASAP. Let's see. Ty, Jagar, overall it was a great effort. Got beat where you'd think we would, but hung on hard against with the Canes. Yeah, no, they did do a really good job. They didn't necessarily dominate during stretches the way they did against the Capitals last night, but it was close throughout.
Yeah.
And maybe in the beginning of the third, it wasn't so much. They kind of got, back-to-back caught up to them. We will be a defensive-minded team with great goaltending, lol. Add that to the list of nopes.
The goaltending's less in your control than the mascot thing, at least.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like the team kind of can control everything around the on-ice. But, yeah. And then Jagar, OMG, a power play goal. It must be a holiday. The mind-blown emoji. It was kind of crazy. I mean, he hit it in from midair, too, if I'm remembering right. It was a good one. And then Stratic, did they actually not sell any evolving NFTs that were supposed to reveal the mascot at the appointed hour?
What happened with the NFTs that were supposed to reveal the mascot?
Right. I think that they never sold out of them, and that's why they haven't done it, because they don't want... I think that was legit part of it, but they did such... the NFTs did such a bad job.
So are they just waiting to reveal the mascot until all the NFTs sell out?
Maybe. I mean, I would assume at this point they probably did, considering there was only 32 of them.
Right.
But I did think at the beginning, hey, maybe they're holding off just because that didn't happen.
I'm going to ask around on that one and see what happened with the mascot NFTs.
Yeah.
I'll see what I can find.
Because we know how the other NFT stuff played out. It wasn't great.
No.
Hunter, I'm the most hot-headed of the core. Sorry, guys. I lead the core in penalty minutes. Hey, man, somebody's got to do it.
Yep.
Somebody's got to be in there asking the tough questions and all that stuff. So it's all good. It's all good. And then Ty Jagar, RJ told them to play and they executed. There you go. And then Tyler, who would be looking to draft into the ECH team with the likely first pick? Let's steal Steve Dangle from the Leafs.
Yeah, there's not enough yelling around here.
I was gonna say that might be something we're missing is migraines. But no, I was gonna say it would be a good one. He'd bring a nice national audience.
Yeah, that's true. It'd get a lot of people on board. Let's see. The hockey guy's pretty good too.
Yeah, hockey guy. Allison. Let's bring in Allison.
Allison,
like,
yes.
Let's be real. Like, that's what we all want, right?
We'll let her talk as much as she wants.
Exactly.
Us off.
Upstage us. It's fine. Just
whatever she's gonna say is better than what we're gonna say.
Do your thing. Reading ID. Lol. Steve Dangle may max out our decibel allowance. I've gotten the hockey guy. He says nice things about the Kraken. Yeah, hockey guy's a good one. Doesn't he like raise?
Although we did have the Kraken last in his power rankings yesterday, so I mean he's not wrong.
I was gonna say that's fine. They'd be pretty close to last in mine too, especially with the other two teams heating up. The two that are behind them.
Exactly, I think they might be.
But yes, I don't want to deal with Steve Dangle trying to do the audio mixing for this. Certainly while we're live, as he's just like launching into tirades and then coming out of them like it's nothing again. It's a lot. Lindsay, Allison Unchained, lol, release the Luke. I love it. You need to put that on a sign and take that to the next Kraken game you go to.
Yes. Oh, that'd be great.
That'd be
get it on the broadcast. That'd be good.
It would be. That would be really good. And I think we could probably finish it on that one. That's a nice high point. We're over the hour mark.
We're not beating that comment.
No, we're not. Certainly you and I aren't right now. Coming up for this back-to-back. Thanks everybody for joining us. As always, it's been awesome. Thanks, everybody got up to 32 views after, back-to-back loss on a weekend. We never always do that. So thanks everybody for joining us. And hey, Brian. Hey,
hold on. Brian in the chat.
I know, we got to do that. What a fun night. Great game. Didn't see a win, but I had a great time. Glad you enjoyed it, Brian. I was hoping that you would. You got a really good game.
Yeah, you did.
I believe you said, though, you were on the side where the Kraken shoot twice, so that means you missed all the goals, though, in the second period, unfortunately. Best intentions and all, That's how it goes sometimes. But, yeah, no, it was a good one. Glad you were there to see it. Hope you had a really good time.
Yep, and I'm sure your son did too. Hopefully he hasn't been too disowned.
Yes. I was gonna say hopefully you didn't have to take too much heat being there and stuff. There was a couple other Kraken fans. I will say not as many Kraken fans seemingly there as in some other road games we've seen this season. So interesting.
Yeah, that's true.
I just thought I'd note that. And then Striatic, release the Lucan is the reason you need to offer Lindsay max term, not a bridge deal. There we go. That's right. I gotta get that, all done up. All right. Thanks everybody. We'll do it for real this time. Thanks for joining us. Hope you, had a good weekend, and we'll get ready for the next one on Tuesday. And that is a live commentary game for the Patreon subscribers. We literally talked about bringing that up right before we started this, RJ. And we wait till the very end.
Now.
After I've signed off twice.
Yes, but for those Watch Party tier patrons, first one of the month of March on Tuesday, their Kraken's next game against the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's going to be a good one. Looking forward to seeing you all there. Yeah,
it's was it 4 or 4:30?
4:30, I believe.
I believe it's 4:30 because the root thing said 4, and usually that's off by just a tad. Yeah, 4:30 on Tuesday. Looking forward to seeing everybody there. Lindsay asking what jersey Brian went with. I'm going to hang on just a sec to see if he answers. If he's still there. I know the jersey, it didn't arrive yet, so might not be there. And then, Lindsay, I'll take a team-friendly deal for the sake of ECH. We appreciate that.
There we go. Got to get that 8-year term. She's only 24. Like, that's takes her right to the point to 32.
Yes,
That's
there
what
you
we
go.
want aging curve wise.
Yes.
Perfect.
RJ referencing more for this podcast for tomorrow. Talking
Give it a
about
listen.
aging curves and all that stuff. Yep. All right. So yeah, just hanging on for Brian real quick. We'll see if it's there. I'll leave up the screen when we sign off actually, and then we can all hang on for a sec there. But otherwise, gonna hop off. I need to go still eat dinner, so I'm gonna go do that. Thanks everybody for joining us for the third time. We'll see you all on Tuesday.